All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you. I'm Irene De Jesus.
And I'm Hector De Jesus.
And we are the De Jesus Law Group, along with our team, of course. Our team's totally virtual, but this is the noon show.
Because it's noon somewhere in the world.
Yes. And currently we are in Eastern Standard Time, so that's kind of fun. That's good. And what do we got going on this week, Hector?
Well, funny you should ask. We actually have ladies' night tonight.
Oh, I know. That is going to be so much fun. So Dr. Ariel and Dr. Wes, phenomenal people. They are Pioneer Chiropractic, and they're out in New Smyrna Beach off of 44. Phenomenal physicians. They work on us. They do magic on us. But tonight they're doing this event called Ladies' Night Out at their place. I'm pretty sure Wynn will make sure all of that is in the chat box so that if you want to attend, absolutely do that. We'll be there. It'll be great. I'm really looking forward to it. And then we've got an upcoming business panel. Oh,
yep.
Tell us about that. What's all that about?
Yeah, it's really, basically starting your business right. So we have Ann Stevenson, who's a phenomenal CPA. In the DeLand area. Yep. We have Bart Schad, who's a great business broker and entrepreneur in his own right.
Oh, yeah. And like he's called, I call him Baby Yoda, but I've been corrected. It's supposed to be Mandalorian, right?
Wow.
Whatever. He's like amazing. He's brilliant.
Yeah. So great insights there. And
then we'll be there.
We'll be there.
Yay. And so we'll be talking to entrepreneurs, business owners, really the nitty gritties on how to make sure that you are doing this right, this business thing right.
And that'll be February 25th at 6:30 p.m.
Yep. So that's next. And it'll be Facebook Live. It'll be another Facebook Live. So make sure Wynn will have that in the comments too, so you can get registered for it. And get the link so you'll be able to be a part of that. That's pretty exciting. And then we're still in the month of February. So this is the month of love. And what do we got going on for the month of love, baby?
If you schedule a family wealth planning session, you get a $50 gift certificate to Norwood's.
Yep, for the month of February, right? And Norwood's is one of our fave restaurants there in New Smyrna Beach. It's just fun. They've got the tree house, and it's a great place to go. And then lastly, we are in the middle of National Caregivers. It's a Caregivers Day, but we consider it Caregivers Month. And we are going to do a giveaway today. This is like the first time we've done this. It's pretty cool. So this is a book. I wonder if you can see it. We highly recommend this book to caregivers. It's written by a phenomenal estate planning attorney.
She's an elder law attorney, board certified.
Yep, she's an elder law attorney, and she herself has been a caregiver 7 times over her 25 plus year career as an elder law attorney. And it is funny, like, who moved my teeth? You can tell right away with the title. That's going to be phenomenal. It's a fairly quick read, but it is dense with amazing information if you are a caregiver and how to navigate this super complex world of Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, the whole thing.
Yep. And so she breaks it down into plain English. It's not legalese.
Yeah. And it's funny. Like, she's a stand-up comic. I swear she is. It's hysterical. So we're actually going to do a giveaway. So in the chat box, if you would tag your favorite caregiver, whoever your favorite caregiver is, tag them in the chat box. And then Monday, so we'll give you through the weekend. And then Monday, we are going to do a random drawing. And whoever wins, they're going to get this book, and we'll send the book out to them. It is phenomenal. Love it. All right. So who have we got as a guest today? Shall we introduce them?
Well, so did we talk about the blog?
No. Talk about the blog.
And basically is how to, and I'm reading this, as you can't tell.
Okay.
It says, look to left now.
No, I'm telling
you. How to show love to caregivers through putting a plan in place.
So the blog this week, I've posted it on social media. I've commented on it because I love the blog this week. It's all about caregivers and what happens if something happens to you. Do your loved ones know these 9 things? There's 9 things that they should be aware of. And it's a nice, easy read, 2 minutes, but full of meat and right to the point for you. So I'm sure Wynn will also have that in the comment box too for you. All right, with that, we have a very, very special guest today. His name is Mark Dees. He is part of, he's one of our BNI members. I think he's in Port Orange. So for those of you that don't know BNI is Business Network International. It's a group of business owners and professionals that really get to know, like, and trust each other, so that if our clients, if our network has a need, we know somebody who will take amazing care of them. And so one of those folks that we know is Mark. And so with Mark, he's been an owner operator of Amada Senior Care of Daytona Beach. And I hope I said Amada right. I think that's correct.
Unless you're from Boston, it's Amada.
Amada. Yeah, I like that. We could be from Boston. He spent 10 years of the best years of his life at the University of Florida. Oh, Lord have mercy, right? He was a perpetual student, and somehow he earned a BS in psychology. And he also earned his MBA along the way. So after reluctantly leaving Gainesville, he followed one of his roommates out west to Albuquerque. That's kind of a far jaunt. Anyway, from there, he met his girlfriend. He fell in love. He got married, and they've got 2 smart, beautiful daughters who only recently started listening to their father's incredibly sage advice. Do you think Mark wrote this? I think he did. I think he wrote this intro.
Certainly weren't the kids.
Yeah. So after those really horrifically cold winters in Albuquerque, he moved back to Florida 2 years ago, and then he opened Amada Senior Care at that time. He also, his sister-in-law, Kim, is working with him, his nephew, Andrew, and his niece, Maggie. So Hector, with that, will you bring on Mark? There Hi. He is. Mark, how are you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, really excited to have you here. So let's get started right away. And can you let our audience know what is a caregiver and what's the benefits of having one?
Sure. Simply put, it's someone that provides care, right? In the context of what a home health agency provides, it is more directed towards a senior. It's someone that cares for, provides additional assistance essentially for someone who is elected to stay at home and needs a little help, whether it's bathing, dressing, feeding, moving around, meal prep, errands, transportation, all kinds of things that we do. But it's essentially someone that just takes care of a senior in their home.
And so that's pretty important, especially here in Florida. I would imagine most folks want to stay in home, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a universal truism. I don't know anyone that wants to move out of home into assisted living or nursing home. That's a big part of the reason I opened a home health agency. I figured that most of my clients are going to want to do the same thing that I want to do, which is keep them home.
So what are some of the signs that you should look out for, either yourself or a loved one, when someone might need a caregiver?
Like, how do you know? How do you know as their adult child or even yourself?
Or spouse.
How do you know, or spouse? How do you know it's time?
Sure. Yeah, there's some physical signs. Getting forgetful, and we all get forgetful at some point. Laundry piling up around the house, food spoiling in the refrigerator, just decline health in general. Someone's not, as robust as they used to be. Certainly unsteady on their feet. Falling is absolutely a warning sign. And then just in generally speaking, increasing anxiety. If someone's just not feeling comfortable like you're used to, it might be a good time to take them to the doc and have an exam.
So you bring up some really good points here, because falling is probably one of the number 1 risks that for the elderly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they tend to not do well with
right.
falls.
Well, if they fall at home, or even if they're in a center or something.
Yeah.
Falls are.
It's really hard to recover from. So what options, Mark, do you mind sharing with us what options are out there for in-home care?
Sure. That's a great question, Irene. I love answering that question because in the state of Florida, you really only have 3 options for private duty. And most people that come to that situation don't have any experience where they don't know where to turn or what to look for. And so I always enjoy the opportunity just to educate folks on what their options are. The first one is you can hire a caregiver off of Craigslist, the want ads, classifieds, right?
We've heard of that.
Yep, that's the least expensive way to do it. And you might get a CNA or a home health aide that has experience taking care of seniors, has worked in a senior living facility, knows basic infection control, et cetera. You may also hire a criminal who is posing as someone that takes care of seniors, robs you blind, and disappears.
That's the risk, right? That's the risk.
There's no background checks. There's no fingerprinting, anything to make sure that that person is who they say they are. So I strongly caution, I would not do that for my mom, right? But that's one option, is to hire someone off of Craigslist. The next option up from that is kind of unique to the state of Florida, and that's a nurse registry. And
can you explain that?
Yeah, I find that most folks don't understand what a registry provides. And Florida is one of only a couple states left in the country that still allows a nurse registry to operate. And so because of that, it's not very well known, especially, again, if you're first time you're looking into that type of service. So I, again, try to make sure people understand what the difference is between a registry home health agency and a full service home health agency like I own. A registry, a legal definition, this is up your alley, is a disinterested brokerage of services. It's an independent contract arrangement. So it's essentially an organization that takes a caregiver with a service to offer and connects him with a client that has a need. There's no screening. They don't hire the employees. It's an independent contract relationship. And so
now, registry sounds though so official, Mark.
They are they are regulated and legal in the state of Florida. And when you call a registry, they will tell you that their caregivers are level 2 background check, they're fingerprinted, they have their TB test, they have CPR certification, Alzheimer's training. All that's true. They are legal and they are regulated by the state of Florida. The problem are the things that they don't tell you when you contact a registry. Since it's an independent contract relationship, there's no insurance provided. So for example, if that caregiver from the agency hurts herself or him or herself in the home, taking care of your mom or dad, caregiving is a very
highly likely, right? Highly likely.
Yep, very dangerous occupation. So, picking mom up and down from the chair or the bed, etc., hurt your back. You end up in the doctor's office, hospital, and the first question you get is, did you hurt yourself at work? Yeah, I was helping Mrs. Smith get up out of her chair, and that's a workers' comp claim. And attorneys, as attorneys, that gets sent to the employer of record, which if you didn't take any other precautions, and you probably didn't, is mom or dad. So they could get stuck with a workers' comp claim. You call the registry and you say, I got a workers' comp claim from your caregiver. And they say, it's not our employee. It's an independent contractor. You need to take it up with your caregiver. So
wow,
it gets worse if you decide you don't like that caregiver. Right? They're not screened or personality assessment. It's a random assignment from a list of caregivers. So let's say you don't like them, you fire them. There's nothing preventing them from going down to the Department of Labor and filing an unemployment claim. That also gets mailed to the employer of record. It gets worse. Let's say that caregiver is in your mom or dad's home and they burn the place down. They steal all mom and dad's stuff, or they injure your mom or dad, right? All the things that are covered under general liability. Again, there's no insurance to cover that transaction. So you call the agency back and you need to take that up with your caregiver because we don't provide insurance for that transaction either. So I try to make sure that folks are looking into private duty, understand what they're getting into with a nurse registry. They're less expensive than a full service agency like mine. But the reason for that is that you are taking on all that risk yourself.
Right. So that feels like that balancing act, right?
Exactly.
It is, it's starting to get time where you're realizing, either as the adult child, I'm having to spend all the time over at my parents' homes, and I've got a family of my own. I have a job of my own, and I can't manage it anymore. Yep. And I know mom or dad can't stay home alone because we're worried about them falling and who knows what else going on. And so it feels like there's this balancing of act of how do we afford it, and then how do we balance that risk of what our choices are. So I think there's a third option you were talking about, Mark. What is that?
Yep. And that's a full service agency like mine. And Simply put, we have all the level 2 background check, the TB test, the CPR certification, the Alzheimer's, dementia, all of that a registry has. That's all required by the state of Florida. But on top of that, I have $1 million worth of general liability that I'm required to carry for my agency. I pay workers' comp insurance for my employees. I pay payroll taxes and the state and federal unemployment taxes.
Why, Mark, just real quickly, why is that a benefit to the employee that you pay payroll taxes and benefits and all that?
Great question. Great question. Thank you. That's very important. All the seniors that I talk to, I ask them, are you getting a Social Security check every month? Of course I am. Well, guess who funds that Social Security check for you? Full service agencies do. Direct employers fund that, right? So if we are paying payroll taxes on behalf of our employees, that goes into mom and dad, grandpa, grandma's Social Security check. The other side of the coin is the caregivers themselves, right? You are actually contributing to their Social Security when they get to the point where they'll need that.
Right. And, Mark, I don't mean to hammer in on this, but I'm telling you, most caregivers are female. Most of them are doing this because, they can't afford, right, to not do it.
Yep.
And they think they're going to make more money if they do it under the table.
Yep. Absolutely correct.
They don't realize, we're all going to age. We're all going to age unless you pass away before you do, right? We are all going to age. And I know as a female, I want to make sure that my 40 quarters with Social Security are as good as they can be.
Yep.
And and I just feel like that is such an unfair playing field. And a lot of caregivers don't realize that. They don't
know what they don't know. Yep, you're right. Yep. It's classic penny wise and pound foolish.
Yes.
Right. So how can someone get started in exploring caregiver options?
You know what? Before we even go there, though, we're still talking about money. Mark, what are some of the things you run across, how people can afford this care?
Yep, great question. Most families end up paying out of pocket, and that's fine. That works. But I always make a point to review the 4 other options that they have as well for private duty. The one that we love to see is long-term care insurance. I don't sell.
Why is that?
I don't sell the stuff myself. I'm not an insurance agent, but that, in my humble opinion, is the single best value for insurance because it does provide benefits for that long-term care, either typically in a skilled facility or in a home setting.
Mark, before you go any further, I'm hoping Wynn will put in the chat box. We had a guest on a few weeks back, Elena Marchese, and their company does have long-term care insurance.
I've met Elena.
We highly recommend it. So Wynn, if you wouldn't mind dropping that in the chat box, how they could contact Elena, that'd be great. Okay, I hate to cut you off like that. All right, go back. This is so good.
No, and these are great questions. I love educating folks on this because, like I said, long-term care insurance, in my humble opinion, is the best value out there. In fact, that's one of our specific areas of expertise is long-term care insurance claims advocacy. We do an in-depth policy review with the family. We help them file the claim. We manage the claim. We file all the paperwork. We can even take authorization of benefit if the family doesn't want to fool with it anymore. But at that point,
Mark, that's huge because I'm telling you, in the middle of a crisis, it's really hard to think through these tasks. And they can get so overwhelming. So knowing that your company helps them navigate this, phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a pretty typical scenario when we sit down with a family with their long-term care policy. Those things are 50 pages long. And you just see the blank, you see the deer in the headlights stare. And I say, let me take a look at it for you. We fix it.
Very good. Any other ways to pay for in-home care?
Yep, great question. Long-term care insurance is our favorite. You can also use life insurance. If you have a life insurance policy with $100,000 or more in death benefit, you can use that for private duty in-home care. You can also use aid and attendance benefits through the VA for active duty veterans or spouses of state. It's not everyone's preferred option, but if your alternative is to go into a skilled nursing facility, you can also tap into the equity in your home, reverse mortgage, primary mortgage, secondary mortgage, to access the equity in your home or real estate.
Wynn, that reminds me, all these things are popping up. Can you also put Team Wonder Woman, Sally Vance, and Billy Vance. Can you put their contact information as well in the chat box? Because they are experts at reverse mortgage. We totally trust them. And I know in a lot of the estate planning work we do, Mark, that's one of the clauses that we do include for our clients in their trusts when they do trusts, is that their trust can handle a reverse mortgage clause.
Perfect.
So this is bringing up such amazing stuff. Okay, keep going. I'll try to be quiet.
Well, that's the fourth. And then the fifth, like I said, is just cash. Most folks end up paying that. But before I come to that, I make sure they're aware of all four of their other options.
Oh, this has been so good. Do you want to ask your last question now?
I already asked.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was just basically, how can someone get started? And
yeah, no, that's an important question. How can they get started with you?
Yep. So there are different levels of care. Basic companion care, you don't actually need any kind of certification. That's just essentially a friend to make dinner and clean laundry, make the bed, things like that. When you get into the healthcare aspect, though, you do need a home health aide certificate. That's actually a pretty easy course to get through. You can Google it online. Nowadays, I don't know if they're doing the in-person classes still, but there are all sorts of online courses that can allow you to do that. You'll need to get a CPR certification. The next step up from that is a certified nurse assistant. That's a certificate that I have as well. And that's the step below the registered nurse, right? That is for the personal care, right? The activities for daily living. So those are kind of the three different levels of in-home private duty care. And again, for home health aide or CNA, Daytona State College is where I got my CNA. I don't know if they're holding in-person classes now or not, but it was a great curriculum. I learned a lot from that.
Easy to research that and figure that out, because now you've given them the university. So Daytona State, yeah, great. They can do, if there's any interest, they can research it. And Mark, this has been amazing. Such great conversation. Thank you so much for coming on and really helping clear up this whole mystery around caregivers in your home, and how you even start and navigate this. So thank you for being here, sir.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Take care.
All right.
So if you want to contact Mark Dees and his business, Amada Senior Care. See, is it senior care or senior living? I don't remember, but you know what? I think it's Senior Care, Amada Senior of Daytona Beach. Amada Senior Care of Daytona Beach. Wynn will have all of that in the contact information in the chat box. She'll have it all in there. She'll have everybody else that she'll tag them to, like Elena and Sally and Billy. Everything will be in there. But as a reminder, you guys, this is our first time we're doing this, so totally appropriate. Who moved my teeth? I still have my teeth. Do you have yours? So we're going to do a giveaway, and we will do that on Monday. In order to qualify for this prize, you need to tag whoever your favorite caregiver is. So make sure you put your name in and put your caregiver's name in, and then we'll do that random drawing on Monday. And then what else?
Just thinking probably how we can get a hold of them. Wynn
will take care of that. Wynn's the brains behind this whole thing anyway. She'll figure that out. And she'll tell them in the chat box what to do. She's good at telling people what to do. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother show. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother show. And with that, tonight, if you are going to be at Pioneer Chiropractic, their contact information also will be in the chat box. We'll see you guys there between 6 and 8 tonight.
And then the upcoming panel on the 25th of February, Wednesday, Start Up Right.
Yep. And Wynn will have all of the contact information in there for Ann Stevenson, the CPA, Bart Schad, amazing business coach, franchise. I mean, you name it. Good Lord, the man's everything. And then Hector and I will be there to answer all your questions. So make sure you get registered for that as well. And with that, you guys have an amazing, Norwoods, if you book a family wealth planning session in the month of February, you're
1 week to go.
1 week to go. You will get a $50 gift certificate to enjoy yourself at Norwood's restaurant. And all that information will be in the chat box as well. So with that, it's time to sign off.
Go Cubs.